Welcome everyone, and thanks for the invite to come and share my thoughts. I'm actually a resident of the borough and I've lived here since 1983, so it's nice to be able to contribute to the future of the borough in which I live and intend to live till I end up in Stourbridge, Crem. I'd not seen the priorities until this morning, and it was really quite interesting. The number of times that entertainment, the arts, public squares to eat, meet and relax were important in each area. Why am I here? Why have they invited me? My background is a musician, a teacher. I used to run Dudley Music Service and Dudley Performing Arts. In more recent years, I have worked a lot with communities, particularly in deprived areas, and I've done work with Channel 4 and do quite a lot of stuff internationally too. I'm retired now, but they always say you're more busy when you're retired than you work, and that's proved to be the case. Over the last 4 years, I kind of got roped into work with Black Country Radio. I'm their chair. I'd never done anything with radio, and it's just huge fun. So if anyone wants to come and do anything on the radio, just see me or through the group. You're more than welcome with any groups. We welcome them as part of the community. So that's a bit about me and why I'm here. When I was asked to do this, it made me think about what makes a town. Sorry, can you go back one? Big pardon. What makes a town? And there are two things that seem to me to make a town. One is the actual infrastructure of the place, and the other one is the unseen culture. So if you like, the seen environment, and Dudley and Brierley Hill count as almost the same bullet. But I thought we might start at looking at why the arts and entertainment and culture are really important. Next slide, please. Thank you. When we look at the people, and I particularly found this when I worked in communities and continue to work in different sort of communities, is the importance of social interaction. In these days of staring at screens, and not really engage, often not engaged, particularly with young people, the importance of actually getting together with other people counteracts loneliness, it counteracts online seclusion, and it also breaks down intergenerational and cultural barriers. I did a project many years ago, and Kerry, who's one of your group, reminded me about it just earlier on this morning. We did on the Wren's Nest estate we called Rosney, and it was fundamentally about young people. It was an performing arts thing. We worked in the canal tunnels underneath Wren's Nest Hill. It was a completely bonkers project, but it was aimed at the young people. In the end, the whole community took part. The whole community had an impact, and it had a lasting impact for the next 10 or 15 years, and it still has an impact there. We did it in 2006. So it really is an important way of bringing that intergenerational and cultural, breaking down cultural barriers. We even had people from the Wren's Nest and Priory talking to each other. Those of you know the patch. And working together and really becoming friends. Active population, this is all about health and well-being. An active population is a healthy population in both body and mind. The arts and entertainment and culture really do deliver that. By engaging as a performer or indeed as an audience member, it directly impacts a sense of well-being and belonging. You're all here and have a sense of community and belonging to a group. The same happens when you're a performer, or indeed those people that went to watch Lenny Henry last Friday. They will have a sense of belonging to the community that saw Lenny Henry do his stuff. He's a perfect example of somebody coming out of a difficult home environment and going on to where he has become. Health and well-being, there's lots of studies, and they point to a beneficial impact of engaging in the arts. And indeed, in 2018, the government introduced a £4.8 billion national scheme so that doctors could prescribe arts-based treatments for a wide range of mental and physical issues in their patients, which is quite a statement, that. Quite a statement, particularly around mental health, which is the big issue of our time. Doing stuff makes the body and mind fitter. If we just sit around being couch potatoes, like in Gogglebox, then you can see the shape of most people in Gogglebox. actually people who aren't couch potatoes actually getting out and doing stuff. It makes the body and mind fitter. And increasingly, crucially, it increases life expectancy. So the people that do stuff live longer. It raises aspiration. So exposure to the arts and entertainment can counteract you don't know what you don't know situation. I go back to the Rosny project. A lot of the people there had no idea what went on the other side of the Birmingham New Road, or indeed in that strange place called Birmingham. And actually, by the time we finished, they all went off and did college work. One guy, who was the biggest problem of the lot, Dudley, bless him, we loved him, he took part in the opening ceremony of the 2012 Olympics. So by doing a project to do with the arts and doing the entertainment at the same time, you can really raise aspiration. Economic benefit, it's massive. Oh, I've done sense of place. The arts can celebrate a real sense of place, and we all know that the Black Country Festival, which I'll refer to later on, really has encouraged the sense of place and identity. He tells the stories, he gives confidence to the people. The economic benefit is massive, 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 massive. 2019, an Arts Council report said that the arts nationally contributes 10.8 billion to the economy and generates a further 23 billion and supports 370,000 jobs. But that has a local relevance, and especially around regeneration. It supports local businesses. You think about if you go down to Birmingham and go to the Hippodrome, all the restaurants round there, all the shops round there, all the clubs round there, all being generated because it's an entertainment hub. But you've got to be aware of a single factor. Those of you who lived in the borough long enough will remember what the waterfront was like towards the end, and it died because it was just reliant on bars and clubs. I grew up in Halifax and exactly the same happened there. So you have to be aware of it. You need a mixed economy. Next slide, please. The scene environment. Where does it happen and where could it happen? This is where you can get creative. The ones in red are obvious. The ones in black aren't quite so. It's nice to have somebody from Transport the West Midlands, and we've got a nice new bus station coming in Dudley, so why not use that as an environment? You might not necessarily think about it. There have been some lovely examples at Moore Street station, where there's some really good art exhibitions in the concourse, really interesting. How might we work with Dudley bus station to this new place we've got to live with? Next, please. The other one is the unseen culture. That is kind of you guys. I've said before, it bonds people together. It creates a sense of community and individual communities within that. So there are a few examples. You don't need me to read them out. The Black Country Festival is massive. It's been going 6 years now, and it's completely changed the identity of the Black Country, all because of a flag that Gracie, and I've got it here, that Gracie designed. Do you know that the Black Country flag is the best selling flag after the Union flag in the whole country? It even beats Cornwall, which is a bit surprising. So that whole sense of identity, that's a bottom-up project. It's not council-led. It's led from the bottom up, but the councils enjoy doing it. Started in Dudley, and now Sandwell, Wolves and Walsall want it as well, which is always good news to have that export. Black Country Radio, I've mentioned that. That's us. We are all about community and getting you guys involved. A new thing that's come on stream just this year is Creative Black Country. It was in the other 3 boroughs, but now we've got it as well. So it's an organisation. It's based in Sandwell, but Dudley's now part of that. They've got a lot of money, but it's all about bottom-up production. So I do suggest that you get in touch with Sajida and look at how you can work using it. It's all about money, but money always helps. Last one, please. These are some of the places, the scene culture. You'll recognise most of them. Well, all of them, I hope. The new one that's really important on the waterfront is there's a new music college opening next year, which is nearly finished, called Resonance. We're moving our Black Country Radio into it. They'll have 600 students from across the country living here, and it's one of the best places in the world for doing quality music. And my last thing I'll say is, get creative. But one last final comment. We used to have an arts and culture officer in Dudley. One of the things you might look to is to reinstate. Thank you very much.